Okay, there we go. Started the recording. So those of you watching the recording, welcome, welcome. We missed you. Super excited today. I'm going to ask some big questions. So if you're here, I want to hear some answers if you're willing to share. And if not, like it would be good for everybody like to do some journal writing. Sometimes like I've been in this mode. I think the trip does this when I have a lot of time traveling. We had some crazy long travel days and like some time warping. When you travel west that far, like you cross days and like it's a little time warp. We flew out of Beijing. Check this out. We flew out of Beijing at 4 p.m. and landed in San Francisco at 1 p.m. the same day. Right? 12-hour flight. Like it's this time warp is crazy. Anyways, you have tons of time to think. And we were out in the wilderness so far away from anybody and we had some just quiet time. So it's good time to reflect and think. And so some journal writing, some thinking, some cool things like that. Get excited. So hope you guys are all, we're going to be ramping up another 28-day challenge. We'll be starting it soon and super excited to do those again. And then hope you're working. Actually, let's have everyone share. We just shared something they're working on. So Allison's working on a book. Charlie's going to be moving soon. Joseph's working on a new website. But like aside from that, are you guys having personal goals you're working on? Do you have any like small specific goals you're working on? Fitness goals or reading goals or relationship goals or anything? Any specific goals you're working on? You share in the chat box or on mic. What goals do you have going on right now? I know this is a driven, ambitious group. Did you guys know though that, check this out. They did this study. Is specifically in the United States, and they found that only 3% of people have written goals. Believe that? 3% of people have written goals. That's tiny. And they found that only 1% ever reviewed the goals after they were written down. And then in a separate study years later, Success Magazine did this poll and they researched all these people and like, okay, what does it mean to be actively improving your life? They found it was 1.7%. 1.7% of people were actively improving their life. So it's rare, my friends. We want to be in the 1.7% group and be going after it. And you guys are. That's super awesome. Let's see. Charlie says, I'm trying to learn how to run. Be able to run 3 to 5 miles. Love it. That's fantastic. I actually so this is interesting. I injured my toe joint when I was playing with some youth. We were playing some rough games and I have been recovering. I've been babying that thing for over a year now. So I'm trying to learn how to run again too and just try to baby into that. I love that running. Allison had a fitness goal, bummed out because I got sick and fall behind. Man, every time. Same. Whenever I get sick, all my fitness goals, and I feel like I can make all these gains, and then you get sick, and you just lose it all like in a week. So hoping to get back into next week. Awesome. Miriam, learning to master emotions, being proactive with parenting. Love that. Both fantastic goals. Emotional and social goals there. I love that idea. Love that idea. Miriam, have you read, just out of curiosity, The Untethered Soul yet? Wait, you're muted still. There you go.
I've started it, and that's in the stack of like 9 books I'm trying to get to.
I know. You guys sometimes. All right, I'll be honest. Sometimes I feel bad about giving you so many books, and then sometimes I don't feel bad about giving you so many books. But I know that every time any of us speak, in fact, I just spoke with Miriam again. I was like, "Oh, you should read this and read this." I'm like always piling books on you guys. I know, when you get to it. So Allison's read it. Yeah, that is such a great book, and really like his whole process of just like looking at your emotions and the voices in our heads. It was awesome. It's amazing. So just a side note, that's every time I think about emotional mastery, I think of that great book. Let's see. Joe's been exercising every morning, run 2 miles, push-ups, pull-ups. Nice, man. Love it. And listening to audiobooks during exercise and commutes. You're on it, bro. Love that. That's the same thing I do. I try to really capitalize on audiobooks while I'm running and exercising and commuting. Every time I'm driving, I try to have a book on. Love it. Okay, you guys ready? So is it okay? May I have your permission to do like a little more thoughtful, kind of deep searching today? this has been on my mind. I want to go deep. So, so buckle up, my friends. We're going to go a little bit deep here. Charlie, The Compound Effect. Nice. I have not read that book. I'm going to add it to my list right now. This has been fun, you guys. Every time I get a book recommendation like that, I've just been grabbing it. Most of the time, I get it on Audible and I listen to it. Compound Effect. You know what? That sounds familiar. I wonder if I've been through that one before. Okay, love it. Here we go. Ready? Ready? Here is, I'm going to screen share here for a second and share this slide. So for the vast majority of people, and as I've traveled around, I've studied personal development for so long, and I've been teaching and mentoring and coaching for so many years and traveling all around the world. I've found that most of us desire and seek some kind of life transformation. And it's not necessarily like I'm trying to become a different person, though some people are. I know I went through that kind of transformation. I was like, I want to be different. I want to be dramatically different, right? I want to be a better person. But I think most of us are just seeking for a transformation into like who we really are. Does that make sense? Like we want a full expression of our true identity, of our potential, of what's really inside. Like we want this transformation of like, so what's his can? Help me think of his name. The hierarchy of needs. Maslow. Got it. Okay. Abraham Maslow. He called it self-actualization is what he called it. At the very top of his pyramid, he called it self-actualization. It's becoming your highest and best self. So most of us are seeking some kind of transformation. So first question invitation today, and I want to hear from you guys and get thoughts and comments. Number one, are you seeking a transformation? And number two, if you are, what is it? And again, you guys, today we're going to get really thoughtful, okay? So it might feel like a little bit like, whoa, this is kind of deep. But go with me here for a minute, like, and I'm going to stop sharing here. If you're seeking some kind of transformation in your life, what does that look like? Like what could you articulate the target you're seeking? What is it you're seeking? And if you don't have to share. You can do some journal writing or you can just think about it. But if you're willing to share, I'd love to hear. What are you seeking? What is it you want most? Is there a transformation? And it may not even, you might even not even relate to that transformation idea. But if you're seeking self-actualization, becoming your best self, like what are you going after? Sorry, this just got serious real fast and deep. But I want to hear. I'm curious if you're willing to share. If not, then I'll just keep talking and we'll keep going. But if any of you are willing to, like, what is it you're seeking?
Well, okay, right now, I mean, I'm seeking fitness and like being in, best shape of my life. Like I want to be like that. But I know that's not ultimately what do I want? I don't know.
Can I ask a follow-up question? That's perfect. Thanks for sharing, Charlie. Even a little bit deeper level, why? Why are you seeking that? That's phenomenal. I love that. In fact, I'm seeking that same thing. Is there a why there?
I mean, partly is because just for the health. Partly, I'm a nurse and I see people, if they get injured, they get better if they already were healthy. And I feel like I'm at the age that I'm like, I could be a lot more. I don't know. I guess I just haven't really made it a priority before. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have a good answer.
It's time. No, those are awesome answers. I love that. You're just feeling a sense of like, hey, it's time to make that a priority. And I love the fact you're seeing you're seeing but as a nurse, you're seeing the body every day, right? And you're seeing health or poor health every day. And man, so it can be forefront on your mind. I like that. I love that. No, that's fantastic. Okay. Love it. Allison saying, I want to be my power words. So these are the power words we chose, and you're probably on your phones, right? The alerts. And the words we're using 20-day challenge: energetic, driven, and passionate. Ooh, I like those. I like it. Okay. Miriam, do you have something you're seeking for? You want to share, or Joseph? Yeah, and you guys don't feel any pressure. You have to share. But I love this idea. Like, what are you seeking for?
Okay, I was typing it out, but it got really long. So I want my future vision board. If I picture what my life looks like in 20 years, that my kids come home, for the holidays, and it's a beautiful, fun place for them to be, and they want to be together, and we can discuss great books and, peace and cooperation, and they have well-developed minds that they can talk about stuff that are deep and meaningful rather than, so what's the latest movie out? Not that that's a terrible thing, but so many people you see have no depth to their conversation. It's all about, what are you doing this weekend? Or, what's your latest fun thing? Or what video game are you playing? Rather than, what have you learned today? So I have this future vision of, peace and happiness, and that my kids are developed and can work hard and can know what they want and can control their emotions and know how to be good parents before they have to be parents and suck at it.
Right? Rachel and I talk about it all the time. Like, we've got to learn and figure things out so that we can pass along to the kids, so they don't have to like stumble along through things that we stumbled through because we didn't get trained in it. I love that. Miriam, thank you. That is a beautiful vision. And I love that you go out far enough to like see this distant end result. That's super cool. That same thing you just described has actually been on my mind. We have some friends who they have 8 children, and all 8 children now have grown up and gotten married, and all 8 children now have children. And this family, they get together every single July, all of them, all 8 kids with spouses and grandkids, they all get together for the entire month of July. And they have a huge cabin up in the mountains at this place called Bear Lake. And the entire month of July, everybody's there. And they sit around doing, like, literally when you're describing it, I'm like, I'm seeing that. And so it's been on my mind because I want to build that same thing into my future. So I love that. Cool vision. Very cool vision. Hi, Stacy. Welcome. The question I asked was like, what are you really seeking? What transformation, what big goal, what big thing is on your horizon? Like, what are we going after? What are you hoping for? Joseph said, I'm seeking social leadership. I love that. That's similar to one of the main things I want to focus on right now. I just feel this drive, you guys. I feel this passionate drive to increase my circle of influence and impact. I just want to help. I want to share, because so many people have helped me make a major transition in my life and transformation. I just want to share. I want to offer that. And I just feel this driving force inside of me to increase influence and impact. And maybe it's just this stage of life I'm at, where I've gotten to a stage now where it's time to, like, I'm really thinking about contribution. I love it. That's what drives me. Okay, so the next question is, and I kind of already started pushing on it and going after it. I did it with Charlie a little bit. The next big question is, and I'll share it here with screen share. The next big question is, do you have your why? So with the things you're seeking, whether it's social or emotional or physical or mental or financial or spiritual, do you have your why? And sometimes you're like, yeah, I want to make an extra 30 grand so I can buy a car that I want. Or for some of you, it might be 300 grand for the car you want. You got some sweet tastes. You want to get that new Rolls Royce that just came out. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes you're like, hey, I need some extra money because I want to get that car, whatever. But I'm talking, this is the kind of the deeper level stuff. And again, we're going kind of philosophical and deep and profound. I really want to get at this. I've been thinking about so much, like, do you have your why? Do you have your why? And you've probably all heard about that book. It's a book by Simon Sinek called Starting with Why. And that's been his entire message, his entire platform is starting with your why. You have to have your why. And here's why you have your why. And it's this idea, and this is actually an ancient idea, that when your why is big enough, you'll find your how. Almost to the point of the how you're going to get something done will almost take care of itself or be presented to you. Or when your why is strong enough and it drives you enough, you're literally moving, you're creating effort, you're like building up momentum, you're just stirring things up, right? You start stirring things up and you get your how and you accomplish your thing because you have your why. So we return to the question, do you have your why? So let's come. I never know how much people like want to go deep, but like I'm gonna challenge you a little bit today because we got to get in there. We got to do some of this. It's called the inner work. All right, we got to do some of the inner work because go deep. We're put on your scuba gear, peeps. We're going deep, but because like I love doing this because if we can get inside and get the inner work done, then it's a lot like. Very often, my friends, like our lives, our outside lives are a reflection of our inner lives. Our outer lives are a reflection of our inner lives. James Allen talked about that a ton. I love his works. So, like, do you have your why? And if it's like a kind of like the deep, meaningful why, is there something deeper in there that like, what is it that drives you? What lights your fire? Now, Allison said, I think with those three things, being energetic, driven, and passionate, she said, I can achieve any goal I set for myself, which I 100% agree. So your why for pursuing those things is almost a sense of becoming unstoppable. Isn't that a beautiful idea? Like, so it doesn't matter what the goal is later. Like it can be a fitness goal, a financial goal, it can be a social goal, it can be a spiritual goal, it can be like whatever. But now I've set myself up in a position to be unstoppable. I know I'm going to get the goals. I love that. Like that's the inner work. Like I'm going to become energetic, driven, and passionate. Why? Why does that drive you? Because then I can achieve the things I want, which are multifaceted, right? There's all kinds of things I want to do in life. So let's think for a minute here. You can write for a minute, and then I'd love for you to share if you can. What's your why? What's your why for doing what you do? And thanks for going with me on this one. I know it's different than what we're usually used to. Okay. So if you're writing and thinking, keep going. I don't want to interrupt that. So like keep the flow going. I want to share mine as I've been thinking about this. So my why. A lot of you guys know my story. So my mom and dad divorced when I was really young. And so my dad would come around every once in a while. He'd show up like every several months and just say hi or something, take us out for an ice cream cone. So then stepdads came and went. And so my childhood was this marriage, fighting, divorce, marriage, fighting, divorce, marriage, fighting, divorce. And we were broke. Holy guacamole, we were broke. We were super, super poor. So like as a kid, I literally as a kid remember using food stamps, and they were like actual food stamps, and we're going to like welfare. Like we were broke. But I guess I mean, as a kid, you don't really know. You're not wrapping your mind around all those ideas. But it was pretty disrupted. And then as a youth, like I just struggling with a lot of insecurities, a lot of loneliness, a lot of frustrations and hurt, and then a lot of turmoil with stepdads and the whole situation. And so I ended up at 16. I was just like, I'm leaving. I'm out, and I left. And as a 16-year-old trying to survive, like there were lots of times I didn't know what I was going to eat, and definitely didn't have enough food. There were several times I didn't know where I was going to stay, like no really adequate place to stay. I didn't know, future was unsure, and just living in some rough places, in some rough conditions. And as I think back of those time periods, and of all the things, like the desperation, the hope, the discouragement, the depression, like of all the things I experienced, I think loneliness was the worst. I don't know if any of you have ever felt that before, where you just feel utterly and completely alone. Like that to me, and maybe that's just my experience, that to me is horrible. Like that's the like utter loneliness when you feel like you don't have anybody. Man, that is just gut-wrenching hard. And so I went from that spot, and when I think about that spot and that part of my life, how lonely I was and how painful that was and how miserable life was, like I literally remember waking up and being so disappointed to be awake. Does that make sense? And maybe you've all felt that before. We all go through struggles and trials and challenges. I get it. Like those days you wake up and you're like, this is this is horrible. I'd rather be asleep. You with me? And then as I started to learn and grow, and my personal transformation came through books. Somebody handed me like one of the very first books I read that changed my life it's called The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom. Remember their story about during World War II. It was a Christian family living in the Netherlands, and they built a secret room to hide the Jews, and they ended up getting caught and going to concentration camps. One of my all-time favorite stories in books. And literally, she became one of my mentors. And then I read Man's Search for Meaning, then I read As a Man Thinketh, and The Power of Positive Thinking, and then 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and then How to Win Friends and Influence People. Like all these books, like they created my personal transformation. So this is like one of my biggest whys. I'm always sharing books with everybody. Like I read voraciously, and every time I talk to someone, oh, you should read a book, right? And part of my why is because that was my transformation. I went from like life was horrible and wretched and I hated it to I love life. Oh my gosh, I love life. Life is so amazing. It's this great adventure. And for me, part of that transition was books. So I love sharing books. And it's also when I think about my why am I driven to increase impact and influence? It's because of that. It's like I've been in those rough places, and I've literally like tasted how terrible life can be and how wonderful life can be. And so I want to share that with as many people as possible. Does that make sense? Like when I stop and really look at my why, that's why I'm driven. And you guys, do you guys have this? I'm curious about this. Do you have this, like, I have this empathy, like when I hear people's stories and I talk to them, I hear what they're going through, like I can feel it. You guys have that? Some of you maybe yes or no, can you rate? Like, can you feel it sometimes? Like I can. When I hear people's stories and I see what they're going through, like I feel it. And it drives me. I just have this just insatiable drive and passion to help people. So anyways, this is my why. This is one example of my why I want what I want and why I'm driven to do what I want. So I would love to hear from you. What's your why? What's your why? And it can be anything. It can be like whatever. You're like, just because I love unicorns, that's why. It can be whatever you want. But what's your why? What is it in you that's pushing you, driving you? What's the fire?
So one of the things that is driving me is I always thought I had this perfect idyllic childhood, which I think I did, but as we got older, we just kept going on kind of how we went on. So what I'm finding is older in life, I don't have the deep connections with my siblings that I want, and there's some issues, some hurt feelings, and some things that we're struggling with. So it's making it hard to get together and do things, and I see the turmoil that it's causing on my parents. And nothing horrible, but they're suddenly in adulthood and with us struggling with our own kids, there is not a deep connection, and there's not a good place to connect. I don't know if that's even explaining it right. And so I'm looking back and saying, I don't want my kids to not really have that foundation of love and respect, even though I didn't realize, but I'm discovering in hindsight that, certain members of my family were really forgetful, and we would kind of tease them. And it wasn't really a malicious thing, but it was hurtful to them. Later, I realized that. And so I look back and see all the times I said these little things to them and other people too, that it's caused this kind of rift and insecurity between the siblings. And some of my brothers are struggling with things, and my sisters are struggling with things, and I'm struggling with things. And so I want to teach myself and teach my kids to have a deeper level of respect, and how to disagree appropriately while still maintaining kind of that relationship that is based on respect and based on, love of learning, and based on family connections, I guess.
Beautiful. I love that. Oh, I love that. And see how much meaning that has? Like, look, I want this and I don't have it. And like, and wanting to pass on to the kids and help the kids, like, please, like, build this so you don't end up like, I want that closeness. And I feel that same thing. I feel the same thing because I don't have a close relationship with most of my siblings. And so I want that for my kids too. Do you know what though? I do got to share this triumph. My little bro has been addicted to heroin for a long time, just destroyed his life. And we try to communicate. And out of the blue, last week when I was in Mongolia, he just started messaging me. And I was like, yes, like it's back. It was awesome. It was just a few quick text messages on Facebook, and I was like, oh yes. And he said he's trying to start over and get his life back in order, which like I was dancing around Mongolia to hear from him. So it was cool. I think he's getting on the mend. I love that. Thanks for sharing that, Miriam. It's beautiful. Joseph wrote, said, I think I want to develop social leadership because I feel like I've been living below my potential in that area of my life. Shyness and social anxiety has been a pain point in my life, which in some ways have gotten worse as I've gotten older. And I also want deep, meaningful, happy relationships. Oh, I love that. Thanks for sharing that. You guys have heard me say this before. Where there's pain, there's power. Where there's pain, there's power. And that's what I hear right there. Like it's become a pain point, but it's also going to become a power point. I love that. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, others? Anybody else want to share? What's your why?
I can share a little bit.
Great.
Can you hear me okay? I'm in a weird setup at the moment. So I realized in your asking this question that I've done a lot of why thinking about certain areas of life, but not of my life as a whole, if that makes sense. And I think, and this may not be very deep, but I know that I want to get the most out of the life I've been given, and I want to help my family and people around me make the most out of the life they've been given and reach their potential. So in a way, that is my why, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's beautiful. That's beautiful. So basically, if like what I hear you saying is like you want to take advantage of what you've been given, what you have. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you've been given this life, and like, I want to maximize it.
Yeah, I guess so. I realized too that a couple of years ago we had a lot of collisions with things and ended up with quite a bit of debt. And my main focus for the last 2 years has been trying to get out of debt. And obviously my why is greater than that, but that's kind of taken over my mindset for everything. And of course, I can't do all these things with that in my way, but it's just, yeah, it's interesting because, having debt prevents you from doing the things you want to do. Um, so, that's a good reason to get rid of it. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm
No, great.
processing that.
No, Stacy, great thoughts. I think it's very profound, and I love that you're right. When it comes to debt, it might be debt, it might be a certain relationship that's not right, it might be poor health, like whatever it is that this challenge, it comes up and it gets right in front of our view, and literally starts to block everything else. So you're spot on, and debt's a great example of that. Like when it'll come in and it'll just get right in front of you, and it takes this front and center place, and it's literally hard to like be looking around, remembering the big picture of stuff until it gets out of the way, which in a way is a good thing. Like, hey, here's a problem. We need to get rid of this. Like, we got to get rid of this thing so I can focus on the bigger stuff. And that's a great thing. But I love that idea, this concept you're talking about, like the big picture in life is like really taking advantage and living, like doing the best with what we've been given,
Mhm.
and then getting those obstacles, clearing the path, so to speak.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Love it. Clear the path. Ooh, actually, that's leading to another good question. Sorry, taking notes. Okay, awesome, great. All right, anybody else want to share? Again, you don't have to. Charlie, you're
Okay.
up.
Yeah. Okay, so basically when I turned 25, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting so old, and like like having a life crisis right there. And so anyway, a friend, he gave me this book, and it was called something of like your 20s and like why they matter. It was, I think that was the name of it or something like that. And like, I don't know, I guess maybe like the exercise why I'm trying is to like set myself up in a good place. Like I don't know, I don't want to get like really old and just have a lot of regrets. So
Love it.
yeah, I relate with Allison when she's like I think with those 3 things I can achieve any goal I set myself to. And like I guess I'm kind of like that, where I'm trying to set myself up in a good place.
Love
And like
it.
physically fitness is a basic thing. Yeah.
And a priority thing. I think it's a great place to start. Absolutely. In fact, I think it's one of the highest priorities. I love that, Charlie. Thanks. Isn't that crazy, you guys? And those of us who, like, as you move, every 5 years is like this mile marker. 25 and 30 and 35 and 40. 40 kind of feels significant. You're like, oof. And then 45 and then 50. I was coaching this couple, super awesome couple, and I think he's hitting 60. And when I talked to him, he's like, you know what my why is? He says, my why is, he says, I want to grow old gracefully. I was like, that's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I want to grow old gracefully. And I love, Charlie, you're thinking about that right now, like setting yourself up, like what can I put in place so that each mile marker along the way finds me in a good position to keep progressing. Yes, this is good stuff. I know it's a little heavy. We're doing some deep thinking here, but isn't this awesome? Doesn't this feel good to like, okay, what in the world's going on here? Why am I doing what I'm doing? How am I going to do life as a human being? Because how many people do you and I interact with day in and day out who never stop to think about this stuff? They don't even know why they do what they do. And you and I've been guilty of that too. We get up, we're like, okay, what am I going to eat? I got to go to my job. Now what am I going to do with my money? And like, okay, I got to pay the bills, and I'm going to go see a movie and watch some TV and blah, blah, blah. And we just kind of go along, never pausing to say, okay, what's my why? What am I doing and why am I doing it? So I love this stuff. Love the deep thinking. Okay. Allison, you want to share? You don't have to, just throw this out there. No, you're good.
I don't really have anything to say.
All right, you're good. Awesome. No worries. Okay, so here's the next question then. You guys ready for this? So like the next thought in this, like, okay, what do we need to do? But I'm gonna throw out a different question. What do you do? Where is this? There's music happening somewhere. I don't know where that's coming from. What do you need to not do? Okay, and I'm going to share that with a quote. Here, let me share this quote. I came across this quote many, many years ago, and it had such a profound effect on me. I memorized it, and then I've like think about it all the time, and I share it all the time. When I read it, it was attributed to a guy named Charles Swindoll. I don't know if he's the one who wrote it, but it said, the chief cause of failure and unhappiness in life is giving up what we want most for what we want at the moment. Let that sink in. The chief cause of failure and unhappiness in life is giving up what we want most for what we want at the moment. Give me some examples of how that's true. Let's make that concrete for us. Like how does that happen in life? How have you seen it in your own life or in other people's lives? Like how does this happen? The chief cause of failure and unhappiness in life is giving up what we want most for what we want at the moment. And as I've traveled around the world and worked with people all over the world, like I've found this to be totally true. And I've seen it again and again and again in people's lives. They literally miss out on some huge opportunity because they sacrifice it for something they want at the moment. Give me some examples. Can you just think of some concrete examples so it's not move it from the philosophical to the concrete? How is that true? The chief cause of failure and unhappiness is giving up what we want most for what we want at the moment.
I could relate it to a lot of things, like with kids. If you just give in and give them what they want, then okay, they don't bug you anymore, but you're not teaching them in the long run the skills that are going to make them great, thriving human beings. You could also do it in regards to writing a book or starting a business. If I'd rather read a book or I'd rather watch a movie than do these hard things, then you're giving up getting things going with your business rather than, what's easiest.
Exactly. Oh, exactly. So yeah, Allison, you're writing the book, right? So that's going to be like this big old task of writing the book. Well, you're learning how to write the book, like gearing up for it, right? But how often would it be easier just be like, there's a new episode on Netflix. I'll just cover that, right? Or parenting. Parenting is a big one. It's so much easier just to give in to your kids because they're not, if they're whining or crying, complaining, it's okay, whatever. But you're right. Like the point on like sticking to it and not, focusing on what you want most. Yeah, Stacy says, quick example is choosing to sleep in instead of getting up and exercising. Yep, big one. How many of you have read the Autobiography of Benjamin Franklin? Oh, baby, this book. Here I go again, sharing another book to add to your list. It's so good. So good. In fact, and then Stacy put in spending money instead of saving. That's another big one. He actually talks about that a lot. But so I'm going through this again for one of the courses I do. I'm going through this book with some youth mentoring, and going through it again this time, like it became really clear to me. It's fascinating. Like, you guys, he didn't know his destiny. He had no idea he was going to end up like changing the world. He had no clue that people would still be devouring this book 200 years after he wrote it. Right? He didn't know that. He was just living his life. But as he's kind of reminiscing, writing this memoir, he's always mentioning his friends. He's like, oh yeah, and I was hanging out with Samuel and with George, and they were doing this, they were doing this. And then I noticed this time, it stood out to me more this time than any other time. He's just passing in commentary. I don't even think he's trying to like illustrate things. He's just passing. He's like, but every day we would all go to work and we'd work hard. And as soon as work was over, they would all turn to drinking. And he says, there was one line in here. He said, that one thing destroyed those poor devils, is what he says. And he's pointing out, like, he would spend his time like trying to improve his craft. And so he's like spending his free time doing things that were bettering his life. Again, not knowing who he was destined to become. He was still like in his 20s. And he's like, I just would spend my free time trying to improve myself, trying to gain education. And he says that my friends would always turn to alcohol. He says, finally, I just had to stop because I wanted to move in the direction of my dreams. Isn't that powerful? Powerful. It doesn't, I mean, it's not necessarily, there's all kinds of things that get in the way. Like literally when I speak to most youth and say, what's in your path? Actually, let me ask you first. I'll do this with you. Brings you back to the question that Stacy inspired. What's in your path? If you could identify one thing right now that's in your path that's stopping you, that's blocking you from really pursuing your full potential, what would it be?
Loudmouth here.
Go for it. Somebody's
One,
got to speak.
I love dead silence. No, one is money, because I feel like all the things and dreams that I really want to do in regards to my family and things like that require more expendable income. I think the other one is just I'm my own worst enemy. You know, it's my emotions and my hang-ups with things that are causing me to not have the relationship with my kids that I want and my husband that I want. So I guess both of those things I feel like are what's really stopping me from really feeling like I'm living my dream life.
Okay, fantastic. Man, and for some of us, I'm going to throw this out. Thanks, Miriam. So money, and then we're often our own worst enemy. And I'm going to throw this out there. Like sometimes our ideas, well, not our ideas, our beliefs about money, like in our own relationship with money, is actually the cause of our financial trouble. So I thought of that as you were saying that. Like it's very often our relationship with money that causes that too. And then Stacy throws in debt. That's another one. Okay, good. Keep going. Any other obstacles? What's standing in the way? What's in the path? So the question was, what obstacles are in your path preventing you from really moving forward toward your goals? What obstacles are in your path? Okay, the ability to stay focused. Yes. Oh man. And that has been just exacerbated so bad in our time because we get constant alerts, constant notifications. In fact, I would say like distractions, probably the number one thing for most people right now. We are constantly distracted. And so the ability to stay focused is tough and takes a ton of discipline.
Okay, I would say clarity. Like I just not being really clear, like what do I actually really want? And like, yeah, clarity.
Perfect. I love that. You guys any of you ever heard of Zig Ziglar? He passed away a while ago, but he was a Texas man with a Southern accent. He was a great speaker. And he always said in his Southern drawl, he'd always say, you can't hit a target you can't see. So spot on, Charlie. I love that one. We have to get crystal clear about what it is we want and where we're going because we can't hit a target we can't see. And somebody else one time said, you can't hit a target you don't have. Like how many of us we spend this time drifting like, I don't really have a goal. I'm not really working on anything right now. So I love that. Clarity, focus, money, emotions, debt. When I ask youth this question, almost without exception, the number one answer is my phone. Isn't that insightful? My phone. Allison, you clicked yours on. Were you going to share one?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I really agree with Charlie that clarity is a big issue. And also, I think sometimes when we lacking of belief in myself, I think maybe clarity and belief in yourself maybe come together, because I kind of think that if I really believed in myself, that I would believe that I could do those things and I would keep them as a goal instead of pushing them aside and thinking, I can't do that. So I think that maybe they come together.
Oh man, absolutely. I'm right with you, Allison. Great insight. Great insight. In fact, you guys, I was just doing this. I did a presentation. It was literally, let's see, what day? It was Tuesday. On Tuesday, I did a presentation from this book called The Motivation Manifesto. And he says in there, he calls it our inner demons. He's like, we have to conquer our inner demons. And he says the biggest part of the inner demon is doubt. We don't believe in ourselves. Right? And he says that one thing is what stops so many of us from taking action, because we doubt. So you're right, Allison, spot on. And I think that goes with clarity too. And and taking action, determination, getting it all done. If we have that, if we're just plagued with self-doubt, we don't believe in ourselves or believe we can do it, literally that one thing will stop us. And it almost seems unrelated. Sometimes you're like, man, why haven't I sat down to write my book? Or why did I not go to the gym today? Like, what's the deal here? Why am I not doing the things I know I need to do? And when you dig into it, very often it's self-doubt. Like, I don't know if I'll ever reach that goal. I don't know if I ever get in shape. I don't know if I can ever repair that relationship. Or insecurities of like, I don't know if I'm worth it. I was recently working with a couple, and it's broke my heart. And they ended up getting a divorce. And the main reason she wanted the divorce, and she filed for the divorce and got it. And she said the main reason, she didn't feel like she was worth any effort on his part. It's like, I'm not worth it. Why would I try to save the marriage? I'm not worth it. Oh man, it broke my heart to hear that. It just hurts, right? But that self-doubt can grow out of control and really stop us. Great insights, guys. Great insights. So the chief cause of failure and unhappiness in life is giving up what we want most for what we want at the moment. So let's do this. Oh, man, this was heavy, you guys. Heavy day, like internal digging here. It feels like a counseling session. We've all been laying on the couch, like sharing our deepest desires here. But let's all let's end on this positive note, like this transformation, and kind of go back to my story. Like I totally transformed my whole life. I wish there was some way that we had some kind of technology that we could all go back and see who I was then, and like if I could just like show you this video, like I didn't have any videos or pictures or anything, like just see this video of where I was and like, oh man, like no hope for that kid, right? And then the life I'm living right now, and our life is wonderful. I'm not bragging or boasting. I'm just saying, like, the reason I share that story is like, if I can do it, anyone can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And that's the positive message. If we can get clear on our why, like what we're pursuing and why we're pursuing it, and then take action, like we can create massive transformations. So let's end on a positive note, like a clear action step. What's something you can do this week? Let's just make one commitment, and we'll share it with the group here. What's one thing you can do this week to make progress towards whatever your main focus is right now? Whatever it is you're working on the most right now, whatever that like you're excited about, that you feel like will move the needle. Let's all make one commitment of something you can do this week to make that happen. I've got mine. There's this video I need to make, and I've been procrastinating making it for weeks and weeks and weeks. I'll get to it. Oh yeah, I'll do that. I'm going to get that. And I've never like put it on the calendar and never made it happen. So I commit to you guys. I'm writing it down. I'm going to make that video this weekend. Okay. Hey, Baleen.
Hi.
We have missed you. We're just ending.
I know. I was like, maybe I'll just catch the end on it.
Oh man. Well, I'll send you over the recording so you can watch it. But
Cool.
so we're wrapping up right now. We're all just picking. Man, we had this big, deep, share your soul session. You'll have to watch it and do the recording, watch it and do the journaling. But we're wrapping up like we're all making like one commitment, something we want to work on this week that will like help us move toward transformation, the thing that we're really focused on really working on. I was just thinking about you yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I haven't talked to you for a while. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your one thing? So Miriam says, I'm going to hug my kids every day and praise them daily too.
Wow.
And Miriam, you might want to like, I know for me, I don't know if this works for you guys. I always set reminders because I make commitments like that. And then like 3 days later, I was like, oh, I forgot about my commitment. So I'll set an alarm on my phone. My wife hates my phone because it's going off constantly, but I love, like, it's annoying. But every time it's going off, I look at the reminder. I'm like, oh yeah. Like it's annoying me on purpose, like to remember those things. So I love that one. Hug the kids every day, praise them every day. Love that. Stacy says, action step to plan a menu. Make sure we eat well and save money. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. I started a rule when I was broken on my own. Never go shopping when you're hungry. Because you buy way too much stuff and stuff you don't need. And don't go shopping when you're full because you never buy what you don't get what you need. Yeah, I'm full, I don't get anything. It's funny. That was kind of our joke. Rachel and I still joke about that. Because when we're both hungry and we go shopping, like having yesterday, holy cow, we buy everything in the store and have it eaten by the time we get to the cash register. It's funny. Hey, that's a great one. Little side note here. In our parenting classes that we've been doing, we've been talking about food. I've been doing a ton of research and working with families. Like, food affects behavior. Like, please be aware of that. Food affects behavior. And it does for you and it does for your kids. So eating healthy will make a gigantic difference in the way you feel and the way you behave. Like, it's way bigger than most of us think. We think it's unrelated, but it's related. Okay, Allison says, finally going to start the Dennings marriage course. Yeah. With my husband, which I signed up for ages ago. We never seem to have time to begin it. Okay, start. And it's all broken into modules, Allison. So there's 5 main modules, and each module is broken into little 10-minute videos. So just commit to do 10 minutes. Do the first video, right? And they're good. They're so good. Take notes and then smooch a lot afterwards. Lots of smooching. All right. Okay, anybody else? Action step for this week? What are you going to do? Charlie, you might want to sign up for like a 5K. Just throw down the bills, go ahead and register, because then it's on. I did that every time with the triathlon. I'm like, if I pay, I have to do it. And then I would train. The money's on the line. Okay, anybody else?
Sure, I can think of
go
something.
for it. Yeah, you just got here rolling and just
I
share
know.
something.
But the biggest thing that's happened in our family recently is my stepson decided he'd like to live with us this winter, which is the first time. He's 14 on Saturday. So we are so excited about that. So we are rearranging rooms and getting settled in and getting ready to get him enrolled in school and all that set up. So that is what I'm working on starting today, the 1st of August. So yeah.
Yes. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Ooh, and it would be something super fun to do this weekend or today. Like, just sit down and be like, okay, like you got the winter, right? So take this section, like what can we throw on the calendar? What specific things can we implement? Like, what daily routines, rituals, devotionals, like what can we do to make sure this thing is awesome? And like almost map out the winter.
That's a good idea.
So he comes in and like it's going to be transformational. Like, you're going to make it epic. Now you're setting yourself up for a high standard because he's like, dude, winters are awesome here.
Yeah.
I'm staying forever. I'm staying here until I'm 30 because this is epic.
No, you're not. But yeah.
But like, okay, what can we do to make this awesome?
Yeah. We're pretty excited.
Yeah. And Miriam's right. You have a beautiful smile, Bailey.
Oh, thank you.
Love it. Okay. Anybody else? Here's your chance. Speak now or speak later, but speak you must, my friends.
Okay. I'm gonna do this week. I'm gonna fill out all the way the Epic Life Planner. And I don't know why it makes me get whenever I start doing it, I get anxious, but I don't know. I'm just gonna power through it and just do it. At
Perfect.
least, yeah.
Perfect. I love that. You know why? Well, maybe here's a possibility why. When we start putting pen to paper about things we want to do, like there's this sense of accountability and responsibility and like intimidation factor. And the same happens to me. Same happens to me. When I sit down with that thing and I'm like, because we all have this inner longing, you guys. This is what we talked about. We all have this inner longing, but when we have to sit down and like, am I really up to going after this thing that I really want? And it scares the tar out of us because it's big stuff. But that's the greatness that's in every one of us, the genius, like this power that's in every one of you. But it's intimidating to go, I got to own this thing because it is not going to be easy, but it will definitely be worth it. Love it. Okay. Fantastic. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for going deep with me. Thanks for being willing to do that. I know sometimes it's uncomfortable for us to like look inside and be like, hey, what is it? What does I really want? Why do I want it? And then to make that happen. But if we'll tap into our why more often, it'll give us the power to figure out our how, and we'll get things done. Okay. Thanks for being awesome people. Love it. You're part of the 1.7% club, people. Getting things done. And I love this. Okay, let's keep growing and learning. Please be active. Be as active as you want in the Facebook group. Ask questions. I'm trying to post questions in there more often, thoughts and ideas, engage with them. I'm trying to post something every single day in there. So we just have something to think about and consider that day. A little inspiration, a little question, and we can ask all your questions. I'm happy to make videos every day for you if you got questions and things to consider. Let's make it happen and keep supporting each other, cheering each other on as we go after these big goals. Okay. Remember, awesome's always an option. Love you guys. Reach upward.